me realizing that there is a greater me on the inside of me. The phrase "there's a greater you on the inside of you" means being above normal, understanding your worth, and being confident in knowing who you are. But the first person who has to realize that there's a greater you on the inside of you is you. In life, we all go through stages of the good, the bad, and the ugly, which leads us to our purpose and promise. UTCM is a platform where you get to share your story and your truth of unmasking moments that allows you to embrace all stages in your life. UTCM looks forward to many people being able to unmask, uncover, and unveil themselves on the podcast. Thank you for watching and joining us. Hey, what's good?
What's goody? What's goody?
I am super excited. So because I'm background person, so I'm doing a little bit of everything. So hold on one second. Let me just make sure I tag you in on our live right now on both your pages. Hold on one second. Rockor and Rahfeal Gordon. Okay, perfect. So now if anybody is watching from your page, they'll be able to see the episode.
Okay.
What's good, brother?
Yo, I'm cooling. I'm copacetic. I'm all abundance. All praise to the Most High. You heard?
Let's go.
More praise.
All right, Ty is in the building.
Heavy.
So this is my second guest. You're my second guest that I have had on from high school. I had who is now Dr. Shawnee, better known to us as LaShawn.
But yeah, she got the doctor in front of her. Super proud of her. She definitely leveled up on that one.
Word, big shout out to Dr. Shawnee. We doing some good things out here.
Mm-hmm. Good things. You're doing some great things. Look what you doing. Look at the platform.
Hey,
come on now.
Period.
Word.
So I just thank you so much, brother, for coming on. I appreciate you. There is, I think, with having you on tonight too, right? It just shows like not just women are unmasking, uncovering, and unveiling, right? Also, this is something that men do too, as well. You know what I'm saying? Like we all go through things. It's not just a woman thing. It's not just a man thing, right? Like it's a us thing. It's a all of us type of thing. And we just got to be willing to kind of do the work to uncover, unmask, and unveil. And like I was telling you, off camera, we was having a whole podcast moment before we went live. Like, I'm just in a really crazy season right now of my life. And I'm like, kind of like Finding Dory. Finding Nemo. But I'm like Dory in that movie, just swimming, and I don't even know how to swim, but I'm swimming.
That's the most important, though.
That's it. I just, keep moving. I keep moving. I keep putting one foot in front of the other, even in this uncomfortable place. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about my brother. Hey, let's talk about my brother. I'm a dance major, so I can't help myself.
Listen. All joy.
Right. So I just thank you for your willingness, to come on to kind of just speak your truth and tell your story. Right, which you've been doing anyway, right? You're like a whole international entrepreneur. Like, I mean, you got it all going on, right? But I'm not going to do the introduction. I'm allow you to introduce yourself, right? So I need you to kind of brag about yourself a little bit, right? Because it may be somebody on here that may not know you, right? So tell us a little bit about Ra and what he does and who he is and all that good stuff.
Yeah, again, I appreciate you for just having me on your platform. This is super dope, and I'm just very thankful and honored to be able to pour into your viewers and just also be able to add to the fabric to what you're creating. So again, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's difficult for me to brag about myself because one thing you know about this is that like I'm about the work, right? Like I'm always, work first, talk about it second. You know what I mean? So I always try to let the resume and the work speak about, who I am, let it speak for itself in that sense. But for those who don't know, born and raised in Newark, my brand or my company now I have two. That's my two primary that most of the people in public knows. Is one is the my brand is Rod Gore, which is the first three letters of my first and last name. But the company is called Rod Gore International, and with that company, I specifically do a lot of conferences, so public speaking. I'm a lecturer. I'm also a leadership advisor. So I've advised some of the top, startup companies, entrepreneurs, those who were or are in leadership positions, whether they're in education, politics, entertainment, and I just advise them. So I get contracted to go out to other countries and help guide them with making impact in their city, their country, or within their business. So I always say I do the good work. So if when I look at it, my mission is that those who are doing um, work in the world through whatever platform that's to impact humanity as a whole, no matter culture, creed, whatever your background is, religion, like I'm all for that to be able to assist and guide you through that process. So I've been doing that now for almost 20 years now. It's been crazy. So, and I got into that because I had made the front page of the Star Ledger in New Jersey back on February 3rd, 2008, and my life changed like
Mm.
overnight. It was also the same day that the New York Giants was in the Super Bowl. So you see the Giants on one side, and then you see this full blown section of the I Am New Jersey section with me on the front. And it just took off from TV shows, documentaries. There's even like I think if not one of the first, African Americans to have a mural, like a office mural on Wall Street currently,
Mm.
that kind of honored young entrepreneurs who were considered going to be like the next, you know, big entrepreneur in the world for their generation. I've also done leadership advising for the Queen's Young Leadership Program, which was to honor Queen Elizabeth. And so Prince Harry and Queen Elizabeth, they had it was a 4-year opportunity to uh, lead where they chose 60 entrepreneurs from the Commonwealth countries, and they needed to have advisors and coaches. So I was honored to be tapped to advise 3 out of the 60 for 2 years. And each one of my mentees and those who I coached were able to be honored at the palace by Queen Elizabeth before her passing.
Mm.
So that was super awesome. And then my other company is Madison and Park, which is a company that focuses on branding and marketing and book publishing. So we publish books for authors to make impact in the world, and we create platforms for them and help them tour around the world. But I also get hired, our agency gets hired to do all branding and marketing. So whether strategies, building websites and all those things, but the goal is to take companies, organizations, and people from being in a local demographic or market and taking them to the global platform. And but those are my two companies. That's what I do now. So I've always been an entrepreneur. I was always the person that said if I don't want to submit my resume for a job position, I want to just build the position and build the company. So that's what I always did. If I couldn't get hired somewhere, I said, all right, well, I'm just gonna build a company and I'm gonna be the CEO. I'm gonna be in that position that I couldn't get hired in, and that's what I've done. But along the way, I've done shadow work that allowed me to be effective as an individual in these positions. So a lot of like authentic work to allow myself to be a great leader, businessman, just an individual, just human being. But I use the business platform, the education, and the public speaking platform to make that impact as a not only like a black man, but just as a great dynamic human being.
Dope. That's dope. And that's actually a good segue what you mentioning about the shadow work, right? Because
Yeah.
I wanted to because you did mention that on your questionnaire. So I kind of to like wanted just to unpack that a little bit, right? So when you say shadow work, first I want to kind of like for you to give what is your definition of shadow work? Like what does that mean?
Yeah. So shadow work is where you are taking time away from doing things in the public that is working on yourself behind the scenes and not in the public. It is doing the work that allows you to be, it's doing the work on the inside so that the things that can be effective and achieved on the outside. So my shadow work for me and what I look at it as, it's the tapping in and breaking through the trauma. It is the things where you have walls and blockage and you have to really do studies. You have coaching, you are going through videos, lectures, you're getting all the things and the resources that's necessary for you to be a better individual and to show up better than what you was before. I think a lot of people don't understand that shadow work is also where you're not in environments and situations that distract you. You have to step away from the masses. You got to step away from the things that keeps you busy, because keeping your whatever keeps you busy isn't keeping you productive, right? So I always tell people, like, even with those that I coach, I say, listen, your shadow work. Tell me the books that you're reading. Tell me who your coaches are. Tell me where you're dwelling at when nobody's around. Are you at home? Are you listening to lectures? Are you at church? Are you taking meditation walks? What are the things that you are doing when nobody is around? That is shadow work. Some people don't realize that is the things that you are tapped into on a daily basis that you're not paying attention to, that actually is the thing that's giving you the results that maybe that you don't want. So shadow works allows you to really hone in and to really kind of pour things out on paper and try to really, figure it out, get the strategy in place, and, work, lean on your strengths and also recognize what your weaknesses are to find that balance.
That's good.
Hmm.
That's good. And I know, like, because the first time that I heard about it was when it was like on TikTok, and they had that it was a journal or something that was going
Yep.
around, and everybody
Okay.
was talking about, doing the shadow work. And that's something that is not easy to do. Like, if you're really doing it right, and you're being honest with
Right.
yourself, it's not easy, but it is very, I can say that it sounds like it's very necessary, right, to really be able to kind of like sit with yourself, um which is very hard, because I feel like, especially in our culture, right, the African American culture, we it's hard for us to sit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we're always busy. We always have to keep moving, especially with us dealing with trauma, right? Like
Right.
past trauma, hurts, pains, right? And not knowing how to really compartmentalize like how to deal with those traumas, right? Like, it's just very hard. So sitting with ourselves and doing some of that shadow work sometimes is not an easy thing to do. So I like the fact that you speak to, like, where are you actually like doing these things, right? Like, are you, like, what books are you reading? Who are you tapping into too, right, to help you through this process, right? Like,
Right.
therapy is huge, right? Do you have do you have a mentor? Do you have an accountability person, right, that you can like kind of help guide you through? Because doing it by yourself, it can be very, very challenging if you don't have somebody that you can tug on, like, listen, woo, today is
Yeah.
a hard day. Today is a hard day. So thank you for explaining
Yep.
what that is, right? So can you kind of, I guess now, right, on the flip side of it, can you give us an example of maybe, something that you had to work through when you speak to the shadow work?
That's a good question. That's a good question. So, I think one in particular is, I mean, this is years ago, but I remember, like, there was a moment where I was like dealing with relationships, right? Whether it was just in intimate relationships or just my platonic friends, like, school, whatever, homies, homegirl, whatever. And there was moments where I noticed that certain things were happening. Like, if someone I like things were like people were easily leaving out of my life, and I was
Mm,
kind of like really frustrated. I was like, why is this? And I always had this thing where they was always looking at the what someone else like the wrong of them, and never thinking about, like, maybe my not thinking, like, without the shadow work, I didn't think about, like, well, how is my communication style? Maybe they, am I actually growing and going in the direction that they are going in? Are my choices healthy? And I had to really sit. So one day, there was an individual who I was dealing with, and I was super, like, excited and over the top for. But I realized that they were in energy, but also in what they were doing. I felt like I was trying to keep up. And I
mm,
said, that's not usually me. Because, see, I think and to give clarity, who I am now is who I always yearned to be as a man. So who I am, I'm super, like, I love myself. I'm in full joy now. I'm black boy joy all day. But it was shadow work over the years that got me to this point. But at that time, I had to understand, like, especially as a man, that you're supposed to set the foundation and lay the grounds so that there is an individual, you know, as say for me, like for a woman to be able to know that I'm stability. And
Mm,
so when I wasn't stability and a woman is stability in her own right and whatever, she's like, I need somebody that can be stable. So I really started to do the shadow work and understand, well, what am I missing as a man? What am I language? What are my action? What are my moves? And I started to really like read one of my he's no longer living, but Dr. Miles Monroe was one of my like
mm,
distant mentors because he talks very heavily about manhood. And for me, he was my cousin actually introduced me to him through a book, and that started my shadow work. And when it came to like friendships and all those different things, I understood that even in dialogue and presence was super important. And I had to do shadow work on that, understanding like, oh, 80% of communication is nonverbal. So how do I show up in rooms that I want to be in? How do I show up in rooms letting my presence be felt? And even if I say something, I know that majority of the time people will not forget what I say, but they will remember how I made them feel. So I had to
mm,
be very intentional and understand that when I go into a room, I can shift energy. I can walk into a room and make everyone smile. I already know, like within 10 minutes, like everybody's gonna know, like Ra's here or Ra was here. Even if somebody walks into the room after I left, because of my impact, I'm able to. Those individuals say, "Yo, you miss Ra. You got to meet Ra." And that's because of the shadow work that was done previously to do that. So for me, I think like that's one of the things that I did like pinpoint all the time is about like when I was trying to seek to become the man that I am now and understood that I was missing some things. I was rushing. I was how they
mm,
say it. You don't get what you want. You only attract who you are. So
mm,
if you don't like what you're attracting, you got to change who you are because you can say I want A, B, and C, but your vibration, your energy, your language, your moves, how you post, how you treat others, and what people see from observation is not in alignment with what you want. So because of how you are and what you're giving out, and because of whatever work that you have done and what you pride yourself in, it's only going to attract certain things. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, nobody can be upset about that but you, and you have to make the decision to change that.
wow, that was good. Wait,
Thank you.
wait. First of all, let's go back.
Skirt,
What was
skirt.
the quote that right? What was the quote that you just said?
You don't get what you want. You attract who you are.
Wow. Wow.
Because that's the thing people forget. People don't like you ever real recognize real. We a vibe, you a vibe. You gotta understand that like that's all synergy. That has nothing to do. Like I can tell you right now, I want to have a Bentley outside every day. Yeah, but you may want that, but your actions does not allow you to bring forth the income to afford that. So until you are able to get yourself to a certain level to attract certain financial stability, certain things, you'll be in alignment. And because of that, you understand and know how to drive in that car rather than just drive it without. You know what I mean? Because like when people get things without working hard for it. Their vibration and frequency does not match. That's why people who get, like they say, use the example, like people who get something new and it wasn't worked hard for, they don't know how to take care of it. But when people work hard for something, for relationships or whatever, there's a certain appreciation because you know what energy you put into it to keep it, to
Yeah.
maintain it, to elevate it, right? Even for yourself, like I said before, like I love me. So when I meet people, I'm like, you can't give me what I already can give myself. You can
Mm,
only intensify what I already got. Because at the end of the day, you already have everything you need. God bless you with all that. So when you talk about love and light, yeah, you just help me shine brighter. You just help me intensify and show me a different perspective of love. But at first, I got to be able to have that so that I can magnify and then attract those who actually are on that same frequency and vibration and show me a different perspective of love or healthiness or positivity, motivation, inspiring, all those things. And that's very important to remember that we don't get what we want. We get who we are and how we attract. We attract
that's
who we are.
that's so good. That's so good. Like just speaking to like really loving who you are right?
Mm.
First and foremost. So then you can, whoever you are, let's just say in a relationship with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you already the expectation of them is not up here now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to come in with this, right? And then when you don't come in with this, then my expectation, I'm disappointed. Now it's just like, oh, I don't want to be with you no more because you didn't do this. But what about looking back at you? So what it really sounds like is, that shadow work is also, even though like you're pointing a finger, that other finger is pointing back at you, right? And really
Yeah.
just tapping into like, what is it in me? What is it that I need to do, right? Because it's very, and I feel like I'm gonna speak from a woman's standpoint, like it's very easy for me to say, this is what I expect, this is what I want from my husband, right? um and then I can get disappointed because you know what I'm saying, he didn't live up to the expectation. But Naisha, what is it in you what is your insecurity? You know what I'm saying? Why are you looking to him to fix it or to love you a certain way? Right? Like, why are you looking to him to have to create the safe space? No, you create your own safe space and then welcome him into the space, right? And then you're able to teach people also how to treat you and how to love you and set those healthy boundaries and all that
Right.
good stuff to you. So that those points, those nuggets that you dropped was really, really good. That was
Absolutely.
good. That was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, I got the background. I got the dog may bark a little bit. So
No,
just
I have a dog too. It's okay. So I don't hear it though. So you good.
okay, good, good. So, but yeah, but like, I think that is super important because of the fact that where I want to go with this, because when you think about this too, right? And you kind of hit it on the nail with this, but sometimes people when people get mad at others because of the lack of like they didn't meet up to your expectations, you're actually just mad at yourself because you know what I'm saying? Like, why are you
Yeah.
expecting more from someone other than yourself, right? Like,
Yep.
I think that that's the thing that we forget. Like, I love children so much because children are like, I would say children and elders are the closest thing to God when it comes to like, he created like, yo, either you're about to meet him again or you about to, he just dropped you down here, right? And I think that what's interesting about children is that they don't expect nothing from anybody.
Yeah.
They like, we're going to go outside and play. Like when we link up, who I link up with, we just gonna play, right? I don't know about, we never heard of bills. We don't know about, these particular categories that people have and labels and titles. All I know is that who you are as at our age, you are vibe. You're awesome. And I want to just hang and chill with you. And let's create sandcastles and let's go,
Mm,
play tag, all these different things. And I think that what's interesting enough is that it's the purest state. It's the most beautiful thing. It's happiness, it's joy. And everybody, no matter whether they're doing something negative or positive, everybody just want to achieve a happiness. The person that does something wrong is just trying to achieve something to make them feel good and be happy as well. Right.
yeah.
The same thing with a person doing something good. So at the end of the day, everyone is just trying to figure out like, hey, like, I mean, can you help me? Like, first, again, sit with yourself. Like, I think it's very important. Like, I'm very big in studying like the Bible and all the different books. But in the Bible, it speaks about like, the aspect of when God just like, be still and know that I am God. Like, be
Mhm.
still, because within you is me. And
Mm,
everything that you're expecting from others, you should be just expecting from me, because I'm the one that's going to give it to you. And if they got what you're looking for, it still came from me. So at the
mm,
end of the day, like when you walk in this world every day as Naisha, when everything that you do, you're speaking as a representation of the Most High. You're a queen. So when you walk, as me as being the king, when I walk, I gotta make sure that my jewels are intact, my crown is sitting right. I gotta walk in and know like, yo, I'm loved, I'm being loved, and there's certain things that I want to achieve and attract and do, but I also need to make sure that I have a strong village. I can only have the most thing I can expect everyone to do is to be themselves. And when they show up with wherever they're capable of, right? You want to say, oh, I want this person to give me a hug every day. Maybe they're not capable of giving you a hug at
mm,
all, because with their capacity of what they've been experienced to and what they know and been exposed to, it's not in the same capacity what you've been exposed to, right? You might have got hugs every day when you were younger till you got older, but you can't expect that from someone who's never experienced that. So you being who you are exposes them to something for the first time, and they can see another representation of love or friendship or a genuine person, and this is how you can show them something, and that can literally open a door for them to now show you something in exchange that you've never experienced before either. And then
Yeah.
that in itself is just mutual. It's not even expectation. It's being, just being.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I that's good. That is really good. I don't know. I just when I was reading your questionnaire, right, the word that really came to me was growth.
Mm.
Right. So before I read what I want to read, I forgot to ask you the question. How did you feel about the questionnaire?
Very intrigued. That's a good. So one is I didn't expect the questions that you were asking.
Really?
Um, One of them I forgot which one it was. I don't know if I answered it or if I just put like something very simple. But there was one I was like, man, I was like, I don't even know how to even answer this because you know what I mean. Like it's kind of because even when I think you asked me like how did you like how did you unmask yourself or something like that.
Oh, what was your first step of uncovering?
Yeah, and I was like,
Getting
well,
you?
that's crazy because I'm always shedding. I'm always taking something
Mhm.
off that I didn't know was there before. There's many times where I realized that I was actually operating in somebody else's belief system and not my own. And I had to realize that because so many years of whoever was raising me or who I was around or my environment told me one thing, and realized that because of who I am now and what I've been exposed to, I realized what truth looks like and what it feels like and what truth is in flesh. And I'm like, yeah, this is tough. So that has to come off. And then when that comes off, I have to also be aware. I was so when you was and I'm going off the tangent with that
No, no,
because
you
it's
good,
like,
you good.
yeah, because I'm like in that too, I realized like when I shed something or take a mask off, I'm also releasing someone's, I always say the nows, a person, a place, and a thing. So
Yeah.
as a mask comes off, so does the things that are connected to that, right? And it hurts a lot too because you're like, dang, like that was my closest friend. Dang, that was like my homie. That's my we grew up, that's my family. Like, or
Yeah.
like I love going over there. That was my vibe. But
Yeah.
I realized like, yo, I gotta let that go. Like that ain't me no more. Or that was never me. I was just operating because everybody else was moving in that particular fashion. But I realized like, yo, for you to make a difference, you gotta be different. You can't
Yeah.
and here's something even beautiful. In my shadow work recently, I was reading the book of Job, and that was something that based upon what you were saying too, like when people go through something, when people are going through something, and they can't figure it out, can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, all those different things. I say, even for myself, it's a Job moment. It's a moment, and this is what
Mhm.
my spiritual mom told me too, that when you're in your Job season, you know, God takes you're shedding everything. You know, things that you hold dear to is gonna just, you know, go to the wayside. And you gotta be mindful that what's gonna come for you next is gonna be much greater
Hmm.
and more dynamic and much deeper in wisdom for you. But the thing about it is like we're so used to the thing that made us feel good, not realizing that the new thing is going to give us much more intensity in that same feel good. And it's one of those and but when in my shadow work, I found out like God and I'm using God because God is my center now, but always been, but like on a deeper level now.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody, when you have a wilderness moment, when a wilderness season, that's when God's voice is the most potent, it's the most clear. And it's also when you're able to be your true self because will in the wilderness, you can't look cute, you can't look fly and handsome in the
Hmm.
wilderness. And there's a lot of things that's looking at you as prey because you're new to this wilderness situation and everything is going to come at you and you're like, dang, I'm getting hit left and right. Yeah, because that's the wolves in your life. Those are the things that you wasn't strong for, and now you're in the wilderness. So you got to be strong now because you want that different level, you want that new place, person, and thing, right? So you got to get strong, and so you got to come out and figure out a way to wear that wolf fur because right now they coming for you because ain't and I read that through like even with again I'm just using I don't know why I'm just speaking it but
Well,
even
let's
when I
keep
think about
going.
even I think about with Jesus like he went off by himself to pray and he left his disciples and he left his homies because why? Because what he had to prepare for, nobody could
Hmm.
be around him when he had to handle it. So you got to remember that when you are in a moment of releasing your mask and you're releasing and shedding, ain't nobody can't be around you. Your mom, your dad, because you gotta understand something. At a certain point in your life, like it's just you and God. Like I recently I realized that now. I went through a recent season like a recent season, and I had to really understand that like, oh, like Cass ain't really gonna show up because
Mm.
because because how I'm moving now, either it's intimidating or it's not their vibe. And I have to be understanding, like, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna hop on this first class flight. I'm gonna hop in this private jet. I'm gonna go eat at this particular restaurant. I'm gonna hang out with these people because that's where I'm most comfortable now. And what may be considered extraordinary for them is ordinary for me, because
Mm.
extraordinary is my ordinary, because I did the shadow work, because I went through the wilderness, because I understood how to wear my crown. So I think that when you ask that question, that was what was coming in my head. I just didn't know how to interpret it or articulate it on paper, because I'm like, dang, like it's so many masks. Like we whether we put it on ourselves intentionally or it was put on as we were going through our development, and we
Yeah.
not realizing like, yo, I'm putting on a front. Not saying in the negative, but it's like, yo, this really ain't me. But society saying I gotta do this. My parents tell me I gotta do this. My friends. But you got to question why. Like why? And when
Yeah.
you start asking that question, why, you be like, nah, this ain't it. This got to go. Nah, this
Mm.
ain't it. This got to go. And when you get down to that core, like take away everything, right? You like take away being a mom or a dad or a husband or a wife or a doctor or a lawyer or a beautician or an influencer, a businessman. Like take all those titles, because every title that you put on you comes with a historical reference point. It comes with some type of trauma. It comes with some type of successes. Comes with some type of history timeline, right? But when you take away those titles and you think about who you are, how do you define yourself? Who are you?
Mm.
And you got to really, and that's deep thinking. That's definitely unmasking. So the question that you gave really kind of sparks that, right? And it allows for the individuals that really want to be a supreme being in this world and really like, level up. That's the question that they got to answer, and they got to answer it when nobody's around and not asking other people what they think about who I am or who you are, where I should be, what I should do. Because like everybody's an individual. God gave everybody a choice and everybody a particular purpose in life. And just because y'all hang together don't mean y'all got the same purpose.
Word. Word.
I just went
That's
on a whole look. I just gave a whole sermon. I ain't look. I was just
well.
here to be like,
That's not a question that made you feel.
you know what I'm saying. I ain't gonna say I'm sorry, but I'm like, whoever needed to hear that, that's what I'm saying. That's for
Word.
them. Like
That
whoever
was,
needed to hear that.
but it was so good, right? Because like I said, I kept like as I was reading your questions, right? I just felt like they were very authentic.
Yeah.
But all I kept hearing was the word growth, 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 right? So I came across of someone who wrote this, so I want to read it, right? Because it also just speaks to your point. When I asked you the question of like what was your definition of forgiveness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you pretty much said like allowing you to no longer be emotionally attached to people, places, or things that hurt
Mm-hmm.
you by
Right.
mistakes or intentionally, right?
Right.
So when I read that, like that really just like spoke to me, like you have to grow, right? But what you envision growth to be, sometimes that's not necessarily the case, right? So I'm just gonna read what this little phrase says, right? So it says, growth won't always look the way you envisioned it. Sometimes we can romanticize growth as only being abundance or making space for more. But I also believe growth involves shedding, loss, and really tough shifts. Growth is saying how you really feel. Growth is sometimes disappointing others by choosing you. Growth is being willing to let go even though it's hard. When we ask for growth, we may have to be willing to allow people, places, and opportunities to leave for our benefit. That's
Mm-hmm.
growth too. Like, I mean, it was just all of what you just said,
That's
right?
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but it's because yes, I know, and I'm gonna speak for me, right? When I thought that I knew what the definition of growth was, right? Like I
Yeah.
did, I boxed it in, to be very, honest. Like I boxed growth into just what it said, like abundance and making space for more, right? But not realizing that it really is that deep, like you said, the deep shadow work, the deep shedding, right? And there is so many layers of mask. Like it's not just mask is off, okay, that's it. Like no, like there's so many, like once I've shedded this, now there's something else under there,
Yep. Yep.
that I'm just gonna keep, like, so it's just like it's a forever journey, but
Mhm.
as you continue on the journey, you just continue to grow wiser, you continue to grow stronger, but yeah, immediately, like that's what I thought about. And I had saved this like little quote or passage in my phone, and
Right.
immediately, like, that's what came to my mind when I read your response, about really just, allowing, like, shedding people, places, and
Yeah,
things,
things, just
right?
the nouns. You
Yeah.
got you know what's interesting too? I had to it was very difficult for me to to understand, like, as I was growing and glowing, that I had to be mindful that um it's going to be the unknown factor
Hmm.
of the individual person, the person, place, or thing that you would never expect to be like, all right, the expiration date has come.
Hmm.
And even in the aspect of knowing, like, people are only going to remember you by the last interaction or the last conversation you had. And so sometimes, which has been very tough for me sometimes, is meeting folks, or being in places that I no longer frequent anymore, or even people I haven't even, like, I probably just said I love from a distance, or I let go of this particular situation with love, and realize that when I come back around, well, because I do believe that there are certain times where, God will bring you back around to show you how much you've grown. And people don't realize it because, again, they may remember you from who you used to be. And
Hmm.
so when the conversations come about and you start to, like, oh, no, 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 that's not the word I use anymore for me. Like, oh, no, 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 I don't need to, I don't touch that no more. Or, no, 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 like, I don't go there anymore. And you have to be okay with the response from them knowing, like, the new you. And I think again, it's very important when I think about this too, that with growth, and I just say this specifically for me as a man, um, because a lot of men, and this is like men's mental health month, and so, like, a lot of, like, this month I decided to
It
take a month.
is, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I took a month off and came back to Jersey, came back to the home base to be with family and to have balance, because I work so much. Um, and I was just thinking about how much I've grown and how much I've been through, the wars and battles that no one knows about, but the fact that when I walk into, like, to see my sisters or see my family and my grandparents, there's a different person. I'm not the same person as, I talk the same. I got the energy, but it's a little bit different. It's more well seasoned.
Mm.
And I for me, like, even for even yourself or anybody that's listening, when you get to that point and you are happy, like completely happy with how everything is panning out for you, and meaning about how you are in the world, how you are showing up, you definitely need to pat yourself on the back. I think for me, like, black men in particular, it's been so difficult for us because a lot of times too, we were like, even for myself, had to, like, suppress a lot of emotions,
Mm.
and not having the resources to do the shadow work, not even understanding how to start, and also knowing when to, like, check my brothers so that they can get it right. But again, for that to happen, I had to separate myself from certain things so that I can be a light for those who were in darkness and didn't find a way, and couldn't find a way out. And so I just think it's important, like, when you're unmasking yourself, give yourself grace.
Mm.
I do also think that it's very important that you should really do, like, ask yourself hard questions. Like, because I think it's imperative and it's super important now to remind yourself that you only have one life to live. And if you see how, and again, I travel the world a lot and I see how people live, I'm like, yo, people are really living their best life. And I'm like, and they're our age, they're younger. Even those who are in their 80s, I'm like, yo, when I'm 80 and 90, I want to be living like that. Like,
Right.
and I'm just sitting here and I'm seeing people how they are in their marriages and people who have their children. I'm seeing how children are articulating themselves because they have a village that was placed around them in a healthy way. And I say to myself all the time, like, there is no excuse to be supreme as you are, to be a supreme individual, to understand that, like when you talk about like unmasking, to unmask the things that are false in your life, because when you get these blessings and these rewards and whatever comes to you while you have that mask on, trust and believe you're going, them blessings and them rewards are going to drop so quick as soon as that mask drop, because you'll attract some things. Don't get it wrong. Like, you can operate in a space of things of what they call it, like imitation,
Mm,
right? And you'll receive all these rewards, accolades, all these different things. But at a certain point, it's gonna be too much pressure because you got to live up to what is being rewarded to you by wearing that mask. But if you operate in authenticity and honesty and truth of who you are, you'll see the real rewards come to you. And if some of those that you gotten with the mask come to you when you don't have the mask, you don't have to even do any you ain't got to force anything. You can move how you always move because there's no pressure. And
yeah.
that's something too that I think that I can say, when you think about your terminology, even with your questions, is when you are literally operating in authenticity, everyone and everything that comes to you is actually for you.
Yeah.
Your storms, your battles are authentic battles for the authentic you, because it's authentically changing you to be a better person or show you something that you've never seen before. And I think like that's a beautiful thing, because now you're using your honest strength. You're thinking about ways of leveraging your mindset, changing your mindset. You're doing inventory check of your village, of your circle. And I always say, like, you can't have any squares in your circle. So you gotta be so you gotta know exactly, like, yo, who and what do I need to change? What do I need to do? But at the end of the day, it all's gonna begin and end with you. Because again, like I said, Alpha and Omega is in you. Because at
Mm,
the end of the day, when you start something, you start it at 100. And when you end something, you end it at 100, because like that's the honesty of it. That's the truth of it. Like, what's the why would you not want to live the best life that you can in the most authentic way possible?
yeah.
Why would you not want to be a blueprint or an example for your community or your village, your circle, your in your marriage or with your children? Like, why would you not, right?
Right.
Sometimes you gotta think about it. Sometimes, like, your purpose could be literally to be the blueprint for everyone around you.
Mm,
Like, literally, like, nobody might have never experienced certain things in their life until you make a decision to chase the dream or to become like this person that you've always yearned to be. Because because I should tell my mentee this. I say, the longer it takes for you to achieve a goal, or to chase your dream, or to move in your truth, the longer it's going to take for someone that's been praying for their prayers to be answered is going to take longer, because you're taking long. Like, you're the answer to their prayer. So while
mm,
you're hesitating, they're going to keep on praying. So because you're the answer, you're the blueprint. So when you start operating in your truth and and recognizing that you are a blueprint, that next day you're going to meet the person that you're supposed to meet. Not for you per se, but maybe for them, right?
yeah.
Because you're already who you're supposed to be. You're just going to constantly grow in that.
Yeah. Podcast over.
Listen, I don't even. I'm just. Look. This must have been a minute. It's been a minute.
Podcast over.
I'm like. I'm just
Wait,
pouring
wait, wait,
out.
wait. So there's, oh
Listen,
my
that's
goodness.
crazy.
So there's so much that you like dropped, right? But
Yeah.
I don't want us to, because I also want to, it's a kind of good segue, right?
Hmm.
Because I didn't realize, I'm just gonna say this before I ask you to do something.
Yeah.
Um, so back in right before the pandemic,
Yes.
March of 2020, you had like this like book signing at this like restaurant in New York. Do you remember?
Yes. 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 It was at Tao.
Yes.
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yep.
I'm like, oh, Jasmine,
Jasmine.
my
Yep.
sister, right? She is
Yep.
like, oh, Ra, he's having this book. I was like, okay, I'll go. Like, I'll support. That's my
Right.
brother,
Right.
right?
Yep.
We will always like chat here and there, whatever. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Right now, she had purchased the book. She purchased my ticket. She purchased your book for me, right? And all that stuff, right? And me, I just feel like just being ignorant. I'm going to just say it right now, right? And just not knowing. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a book and I'm not a reader. I don't read. So I'll just put it in, I'll just put it up. Like I supported my brother, you know what I'm saying? And that
Right.
was
Yep.
it, right? And something like kept tugging at me all week. Like, Naisha, go find the book. Like, you need to go find the book. And I'm like, all right, I'll find the book. Right. So I finally took it out today. Right. And I'm like, I don't even know what this means though. Opulence.
Oh
Right.
yeah. 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 That book is serious.
Right. Now, when I got the book from you signed it. I'm like, yep, got his book. And I put it in the crate, like I said, like, and I'm not in a disrespectful way at
Right.
all.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. But just not knowing, right? And just not understanding. And the past like 2 weeks, Holy Spirit has really been tugging on me, like, you gotta read more. If you're gonna lead, you gotta read. Right.
That's a word.
So right now the book that I'm reading is The Garden Within by Dr. Anita Phillips. Right. And
Hold up. Hold up.
that's why you my brother.
No.
That's why you my brother. That's why. That's why. Period. Okay. Yeah. So that's the book that I'm reading right now.
Crazy.
Right. That's the book that. So I said that this was going to be my next book. Now, mind you,
Oh.
I'm gonna just be real. I did not. I'm like, opulence. What the heck? What made him come up with that? I don't know what that means. Now, I said that to myself back in March of 2020.
Now, go ahead. I probably know where you go.
Like,
Go ahead.
whatever. I'm not
Go
putting
ahead.
that. Yeah. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
like, what is it, God? Like, what is it that I need to do? Like, I need to shift my mindset about these finances. I'm like, I'm tired of robbing. I'm tired of, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like, I'm tired of living the paycheck to paycheck. Right. And I'm like, opulence. It literally just hit me right before the podcast episode. I'm like, Naisha, why don't you Google what that word means? And when I Googled, because Google is my best friend, when it said opulence means wealth, abundance, a luxury. I said, my God, he had the blueprint. He gave it to me in my hand. And I put it away.
Let me ask you a question. Did you go to the Beyonce concert?
I didn't.
Do you know opulence was in her concert?
Mm-mm.
She did what was that concert she did? Her tour she just recently did. Everybody was hitting me up, like people that were going to the concert, coming back from, like in the concert, were tagging me because across the screen, she put opulence across the screen, and everybody was like, "Yo, that's crazy that Beyonce." And then because everybody knows I use the term frequency, so everybody that the readers were like, "Yo, you and Beyonce on the same frequency." I'm like, "Yo, opulence is that thing though." Like you got the blueprint.
Wow.
You got the blueprint right there.
Wow.
And what's crazy is, do you know how much that book costs?
No.
You got the soft cover. Do you know how much book costs?
No.
The hardcover costs $250.
What?
Yeah, you got a very wealthy book in front of you. You don't even. You don't even. Yeah, you got to read that. And it's not even. I say that the pricing, because I always tell people all the time, it's just only because I want people to understand how valuable that education is, the knowledge in it, right? But like, it's funny because and that's a perfect thing that you said, because a lot of times, again, we have everything we need around us. Like people forget. I should tell some friends of mine. I was like, if you treat me, I was like, if I call you and I was like, would you, like, I forgot what it was. Like, if I call you, do you send me the voicemail or do you text me, say, Rob, I'm hit you back? And and they was like, "Oh, I would probably say I hit you back." I forgot it was a particular situation.
Okay.
So I was like, "Yo, if Jay-Z or somebody like Bill Gates, calls you, or find out they want to talk to you, would you send them a voicemail, or would you text the person and say, 'Yo, I'm gonna get back to him'?" It's like, "No, I'm gonna pick up the call." I was like, "See, that's the problem." Because sometimes you don't even realize that you have a Jay-Z in your circle. You have a Bill Gates in your circle. Because why? Because you only know one. That person has a circle of people who they can be like, yo, they can really be like, yo, Bill Gates, Jay-Z, Beyonce, the mayor of Newark, or whoever is my friend. I can call them, da, da, da. But there are many people like them in everybody's circle. The
Yeah.
thing about it is, until we get on that frequency, and until we get into that space of where unmasking, we get to really see who operate in their purpose, and they become that person, right? Like, you're that person because look what you're creating. You got all of us coming onto this platform to pour out our wisdom and our insight and our jewels, not just to people, for people to use that and take it and put it on their crown. But
Yeah.
you're just as important and valuable as a Beyonce or whoever, Rihanna, because of the fact that you're serving. You know what I'm saying? You are impacting by using your gift. And your gift is a way that you have a vision. Nobody knows what this full vision is but you.
Yeah.
And when you start operating to make the vision come to pass, yo, like you're on that type of time.
Word.
You're 10 toes down, like you standing on business. Like, and people like me and whoever else is in your Rolodex is going to be like, yo, whatever you need, I'm here. Because
Word.
we're on the same vibration now. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
We
That's
there.
that's factual, right? Because that was like, you reached out to me last
Oh
summer,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Because you
yeah,
had like a whole bunch of women that you were, they were getting ready to publish their book, which
yeah.
actually two of your authors was on my
No, yeah,
podcast
listen to me.
last season, which
Yep.
was
Bliss
Kia
and Kia.
and Bliss.
Bliss, yeah.
Right. You publish their books, and you reached out to me like, like, I feel like your platform would be a great platform for them to come on, right, and kind of like just speak to their journey, right. And
Come on.
it was amazing, like, you know what I'm saying, like, we linked up and it was just like boom, like, we got Madden Par, now we got UTCM
Yep.
linking together, right, like you said. So like, yes, you do, you have people in your circle, right,
That's a
that are
fact.
just as big as anybody else. At the end of the day, we're all human beings. You know what I'm saying? We still breathe, bleed, all the
That's a
same.
fact. That's a
You know what I'm
fact.
saying?
That's a fact.
So yeah, you just never know who you. That's why I like always treating people with dignity and respect. I never turn my nose up at people, right?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like, you never know. The same person that I may turn my nose up to may be the same person that can help me, with what I'm looking for, with what I'm
Mm-hmm.
struggling with. You know what I'm saying?
For
So
sure.
yeah, it's
For
just,
sure.
it's a beautiful thing when you do have, you know what I'm saying, like you keep saying that frequency, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is on that. My dad uses those words a lot, like,
Okay.
energy and frequency and all that stuff. Like, he's a firm believer of that. I'm sorry, my dog Chloe
No, don't
is
worry, we good.
he's interjecting in the UTCM podcast.
Listen, he's the mascot right now. He's like, yo, let me sing song. Let me
That's
sing
the
song.
UTCM mascot, right?
That's
Period.
it.
Period. Right, it's all part of podcasting. Until I'm putting it out in the atmosphere, I will have my studio one day. You know what I'm saying? Where all that
Come
background
on,
noise,
talk
I
that
won't have to
talk. Come
worry
on
about.
now. Come on
I
now.
won't have to worry about it.
That's it.
It's
Listen,
coming.
do it. Do
It's
it. Listen.
coming. It's
I'm gonna say
coming.
you be in LA, you know what I'm saying? You be doing your tours, you in LA, you know what I'm saying? Got the celebs and everybody like, yo, whatever you need, we gonna
Right.
endorse it, whatever you need. I'm like, yo, the investors coming in. I'm like, yo, what you need? I got you now. Look, I'm gonna be a little investor, whatever. Like, come
Listen.
on now.
Listen.
You're
Listen.
doing the work though. You're doing the work.
Yes.
And it's important.
That's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Continuing to put one foot in front of the other. You know what I'm saying? Even through the hard times, even through the unknown, the not knowing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the season that I'm in. Like, it's easier for me to kind of be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not in a good space. So you know what? I'm a bow out gracefully, and not saying that sometimes you do have to. You know what I'm saying? Take a moment for yourself, right? Maybe take a step back, but
Mhm.
if I take a step back, I know me. I know it's Naisha, you know what I'm saying, going and hiding. You know what I'm saying? It's Naisha putting the mask back on
Yeah,
completely. Right?
yeah,
So it's continuing to, you know what I'm saying, put those baby steps, you know what I'm saying, into practice. You know what I'm saying?
that's
One
it.
foot in front of listen, I'm a little wobbly, you know what I'm saying? But I'm walking.
Yeah,
I'm walking.
I get it. I get it.
I'm
I
walking.
get it. I get it. And you doing it though. But and I think again, like all the people that are listening like tonight and prior to and even in the near future,
Yeah.
I think just be mindful, like again, like speak life. Like and don't be scared to take off the mask. Don't be scared to make any shifts that you need in your life. Every great person, everyone that wanted to do well for themselves had to. And when you make time for yourself and do the shadow work, but also excuse me, like champion yourself and be excited for the fact that you're learning in the process. And no matter how difficult it gets, because it will get difficult, that's something that happens. Like don't give up, don't give in. Like
Yeah.
even if it knocks you to your knees and you all you can do is crawl and crawl, and if you got to drag yourself, if you got to like stretch your hand out, by all means, because it makes your testimony so
Yeah.
much more. And I just say that because I'm like, man, I just had like a crazy season. Like I had a very one of those, like I had my Job season. I thought, like, I was like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this situation. I had lost my mom. I had everything was happening all at one time. Like, and I just was like, yo, how I'm gonna do this? And I just remember like literally like in the purest state, I was just like, it's just me and God. And I
Mm,
leaned on my faith. And people be like, yeah, I'm faith. I was like, nah, you know what faith is when you ain't got nothing else to lean on. When you got
mm,
100 people, 300 people on your phone, and you can't call not one person because you like your spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit already telling you like, bro, ain't nobody gonna help you with this. Like it's just
mm.
you and whoever you decide to make a decision to call. And I was like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
calling on God, like because that's where when you go through those times, your Job season, you whatever your methods is to coping is what you're going to lean on. If your methods are toxic, you
Mm,
end up you're killing yourself because when it gets that hard and you don't know, you have not collected all of those methods and wisdom over those other small storms you had over your life, you got to look back and be like, yo, I got out of that. Like, I'd be all right. I'm good. I can do this. And you can remember what you learned. Like, you should have something like them journals. If you journaling, I think it's so important when you're doing the shadow work because pour out, think about the things that you did to get out of those situations, and also be mindful. Like, yo, and then when you get all those things, like when you really like lean on that faith, it's just very. I believe like miracles happen for sure.
yeah.
Like extraordinary things happen. I'm like, yo, I never like when I say miracles, I'm like, yo, how in the world did that person know to call me?
Mm.
How in the world? Where did this show up at? Like, and I'd be like, yo, God, you really hurt me. But he's always there. He's
Always.
always there. And he taps in when you're in your most authentic state. He gonna
Mm.
let you vibe. Like, yeah, go ahead, have a good time. Yeah, you wanna be the main, okay, you wanna be the main character. Cool, cool, cool. All right, you
Yeah.
ain't talking to me now. You was talking to me
Word.
when stuff was hard. All right, you a week now and you good. You ain't I'll hit you tomorrow. All right. Or you ain't studying like you used to. Oh, you ain't hitting your journal. You ain't work. Oh, okay. All right. You ain't tapping into your friends like you used. Oh, you too busy now. Cool. Let me take that away because you being too busy. Being too busy ain't. Nah, let me get rid of that because anything that's not productive is busy, and anything that's busy is going to distract you. So when you're too busy, God gonna step in because you his kid. He gonna be like, I'm taking all this away from you. You want punishment. Now what
Word.
you gonna do? Now what you gonna do? You gonna be productive and use your gift.
Hmm.
You gonna use your gift because you
Whew.
ain't using your gift when you out here in the world popping like that. Like if you are, then God will constantly increase that. But when you busy and you too busy to exercise your gift or to see what the like give God gave you that prophetic vision, you ain't pop. Okay, cool, all right. And that's how God, he was like, all right, I'm gonna let you live a little bit. But when it gets too much, then that's when you're gonna have to feel it. And I'm for me personally, thankful for those moments for me because it humbled me.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think that is really beautiful, like when you think about like your true friends and those that really care for you, just like God, uh, God will check you in private so you won't make a fool of yourself in public.
Mm.
And your friends will do the same thing. Your true core friends and those that support you. So, because when you're so important and needed in the world, there has to be this particular space that is a safe space for you. Like, yo, nah, look, I need to pull you to the side real quick and let you know, like, you're doing a good job, but this right here, you got to check that because
That's
if
good.
you don't check that, people that don't know you're going to try to check you, and it ain't gonna be good. There's no holds bars with that. So, as a friend, or God, I whisper in your ear, nah, baby girl, that ain't it, man. That's not it. I need you to make that turn. And it's clear, he gonna say it clear as day in your
Yeah.
dream or wherever. And after that, then you make the decision because he gives you the gift of choice.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have you back because I didn't realize like that hour went by so
No, and
fast.
watch so fast. Yeah, yeah. I didn't think I was pouring out. I didn't even think I would be talking like this. This is different.
I mean, I didn't even get through half my stuff. I had a lot of stuff to say.
Yeah, this
Oh
is
my
I'm sorry.
goodness.
Look, I don't even know. Did you ain't get through none of your stuff? I'm
Nah,
sorry. I'm
it's
talking
good.
too much.
No, it was all good. It was all good. It was Holy Spirit led. It was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was it was good. You dropped a lot of good nuggets. The convo
Hmm.
was really, really good. But before we go, right,
Yes.
I because I feel you had said something, you said a lot, but you had mentioned about, just men, right? And I
Mm,
just feel so strongly now, like, with you being on the platform, right? And really, uncovering, unmasking, right? And just allowing yourself to be who you are, right?
right.
I just would, if you can, right? Like if you can just give, the men out there an encouraging word, right? And like it's so befitting too because it is Men's Health Month too
Sure.
as well, right? Like what would you say, you know what I'm saying, to the men that are out there?
Now that I love you, I truly like I represent you. I am out here doing the work, and it's important for you to do the work because, for one, your brother right now can't do it by himself, and I
Mm,
think it's important for you to know that I know it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I know that at times, the world and society will have you thinking that they'll call you Superman and think that you can carry everything, carry the load, but sometimes that load is heavy. So I think it's very important for you to tap someone, um, to begin the shadow work and lay the foundation or fix the foundation or strengthen the foundation, one of those three that's in your life. Fix it because the next generation, your children, if you have children, your wife, if you have a wife, the woman that you with, the community that you're a part of will thank you now and later for it. Just do the work because doing the work and building that foundation, strengthening the foundation will make the will make the village much stronger and also expand the village. And remember, like you know what I mean? Like they always say, and this is something that I learned from a woman, that it's important that a man stand strong and be strong in foundation because if he's not, or a woman and children will only be as strong as the man that is able to lead them. If you're weak, then the women and children of the village will have to start on a weak foundation. But if you leave and you lead a, if you leave with a strong foundation, then the women and children will always remember you, respect you, and honor you for allowing them to have a strong foundation to stand on and to move forward with. So, be the foundation, be a blueprint, but more importantly, tap into the village and find balance. And we out here. Tap in,
we out
tap
here,
in. You know what
right?
I'm saying? That's
I'm
it.
gonna make sure I you're tagged in it. So if if anybody wants to reach out to you, you know what I'm saying, like
For sure.
They can. They definitely can. And to before we go, right? So I thank you for that. Right.
Hmm.
Giving that encouraging word, and hearing it from another man, right? Um, it just says something. It really, really does. But you're doing something. You have like some event coming up or something like that, right?
Yeah. So right now we're preparing for the How I Wrote It series red carpet screening at AMC Theaters in Lincoln Center. It's going to be it's going to be amazing. You should,
So
yeah. You got to get all your files to come. We're going to we'll figure it out. You make sure you get
okay,
all your files to come. So it'll be at AMC Theaters on October 23rd. So I think at the end of the month, we're going to start like releasing all of the promo and the tickets for people to purchase tickets and whatnot.
dope.
We're also building out. We're working on every year I do the Whitney dinner in December, which is a dinner for single parent mothers that are living in the shelters in Newark. And
Mm.
so this year is the 9th year, but next year, the 10th year, we're turning it into a gala. So we already started planning it. It's going to be we're pushing to make it the largest gala in New Jersey.
Mm.
So right now we're working on hosting it at NJ Pack, because that's one of my old stomping grounds. So that's what we're working on right now. And then what else is there? And then there's just the tours, like the How I Wrote It series, like the tour. So all of us, even myself, will be going on tour soon. And we'll be going out to Europe first. So we'll be going to Norway, then we head over to Switzerland, Indonesia. I think we're going to Santiago, Chile. So we got a bunch of tours starting in the fall as well.
Just a
And
little boy from Newark. Just a little boy from Newark.
little boy from ain't that crazy?
Just a little boy from
I was
Newark.
like, I was in the projects at one point. I was like, really? Look at you. Look at you.
Look
I
at
was like,
you.
look at you. And I'm proud of you.
Word.
You know
That's
what I'm
dope.
saying? Yo, I'm tell you something. Let me tell you something. This black boy joy though is a real thing.
That's
I woke up this morning and you know how when you're a kid, you kick your feet and you
yeah.
just like, yo, I woke up this morning. I was like, yo, it's about to be an amazing day. And that's my favorite line. Like, look at God. I'll be like, look at God. I gotta be out here stunting for myself for him. Like, and I get up and I'll be dancing for no reason. I'll be high fiving folks, buying people Starbucks behind me. Like, I'll be outside. Like, let me just do good in the world today. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
I
But
love
that's the
it.
energy. That's the frequency. That's the vibration. You
That's
got to
good.
live that, right? Like, be intense with that, because your
Yeah.
mind will have you be intense with the negative.
Word.
Be intense with your joy. Like, yo, I'm about to be outside today, and I'm gonna show love to 10 people,
Yeah.
random. I don't know how. God just showed me how to do it. I'm gonna give this person $1, buy that person a Dunkin' Donuts. I'm gonna do something. Let you go past. You know what I'm saying? I know I got road rage, but today I'm gonna let you go past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Dope. That's dope. That's dope. Well, it's been real, y'all. I gotta have my brother come back on. You know what?
Bless,
I think
bless.
I might want you and Dr. Shawnee to come on
That'd
together.
be crazy. That'd be
Right?
crazy. Yeah.
Arts High alumni
I'll be
in the
nervous because
building.
isn't she a therapist? I'm nervous. I ain't saying nothing now. She a doc.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
got the
yeah.
doctor in front
Oh
of me.
yeah,
I ain't
she
saying
gonna get us
nothing.
right. She gonna get us
Look,
right.
look. She goes, hey Rob, like, hey,
She gonna have us really. She gonna have us unpacking that shadow
no,
work.
word.
Okay.
She gonna be sitting. It's gonna be her show. She gonna be like, so. I'm be like, I told you. Nah, I told you. Look, this is what you. I'm warning you right now. Like you told her. She's like, yeah, come on up. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
sure.
I gotta get that together.
Word.
I'm gonna I'm gonna reach out to y'all. That'll be super dope. So thank everybody for watching and tuning in. Brother, I appreciate you.
All love.
I
All
really
love.
appreciate you. Thank you so much. You're doing amazing things. Just keep doing what you do. And I'm just happy to be able to be a part and see, you know what I'm saying, what you're doing.
For
Dope.
sure. For
So
sure.
we out, y'all. Good night.
Word.
Have a good week. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. And like Ross said, just live your best life.
That's
Just live
it.
your best
You
life.
know what I'm saying? Every little so often, look at God. Look at God.
And look at God. Hashtag look at God. Let's put the hashtag down there, y'all. Look at God. All right, y'all. Good night.